What if I told you there once was an African city so advanced, so breathtakingly beautiful, that when European explorers saw it, they thought they had stepped into a dream? A city with wide paved streets, glowing bronze walls, and a king whose power could silence entire nations. But then it vanished, buried under ash, greed, and silence. This is not fiction. This is the true story of the Benin Empire, the African civilization that shocked Europe and was later erased from history. Stay with me, because what you'll hear next will change everything you thought you knew about Africa. Long before London had its first paved street, before Paris had its grand cathedrals, there was Benin City, deep in what is now Nigeria. Built by the Edo people, Benin was more than a kingdom. It was a masterpiece of engineering. Walls stretching for 10,000 miles, moats deeper than fortresses in Europe. The people of Benin didn't just build, they crafted. Every palace door, every courtyard was carved from bronze and ivory, telling stories of gods, battles, and the strength of their Oba, their king. And then came Uware the Great, the man who transformed Benin from a city into an empire. Uware created order from chaos. He built a central government, military roads, and even a diplomatic system centuries ahead of its time. But hidden within his greatness was a warning. Because Uware's rise began with fire, a rebellion that burned his own family alive. He rebuilt from the ashes, and from that ash rose a golden empire. But greatness attracts envy, and envy would soon sail from across the sea. In the 15th century, the first Portuguese explorers reached the shores of Benin. What they saw left them speechless. They wrote home, "The city is large, orderly, and clean. The king's court is vast, more beautiful than anything in Europe." Europe couldn't believe it. An African empire, organized, rich, with art that rivaled the Renaissance? Impossible. Yet Benin's bronze masterpieces, cast with precision no European could replicate at the time, proved it was real. But while Portugal came with gifts, others came with greed. Benin's power, its control over trade, its mastery of metal, its wealth in ivory, became a target. The same Europe that praised Benin began to plan its downfall. And hidden in one explorer's diary was a line no one paid attention to. "One day, the kingdom of Benin will burn, and its treasure will belong to us." What they didn't know was that Benin would fight back with fury. By 1897, Britain had set its eyes on Benin's riches. They wanted palm oil, ivory, and bronze. But the Oba of Benin refused to bow. A British expedition arrived for diplomacy. But secretly, it carried guns. When Benin's warriors discovered the lie, they struck first, ambushing the British forces and sending shock through London's pride. Britain called it a massacre, but history calls it resistance. The response was brutal. The British returned with 1,200 soldiers, machine guns, and fire. They looted palaces, burned temples, and tore down walls that had stood for centuries. The sky turned red. The streets, once lined with art, became rivers of ash. And when the fire died, the Empire of Benin was gone. Its treasures, over 4,000 bronze sculptures, were taken to Europe, displayed in museums as discoveries, narrator, voice breaking slightly. But they were never discoveries. They were stolen memories. Wait till you see what happened next. For over a century, the Benin bronzes sat in London, Berlin, and Paris. People marveled at them, not realizing they were looking at stolen history. Each sculpture wasn't just art. It was a record, a timeline, a language in metal. They told of obus, battles, and ancestors. And for decades, Europe claimed Africa couldn't have made these. They're too advanced. That lie became a shield to justify the theft. But modern science exposed the truth. The metal in the Benin bronzes matched the soil of Nigeria. The technique, lost wax casting, had existed in Benin long before Europe mastered it. Today, one by one, the bronzes are being returned. But can a stolen soul ever be truly restored? Before you answer that, you need to see what's happening in Benin right now. From the ashes of history, a new generation rises. Artists, historians, and descendants of the obus are rebuilding, piece by piece. Museums are being built in Benin City to house what was once stolen. The youth are learning the old bronze techniques again, reviving a language of metal that Europe tried to silence. The kingdom may have fallen, but the soul of Benin never did. Because you can burn a city, you can steal its gold, but you cannot erase memory. The Benin Empire wasn't just a kingdom, it was a mirror. A mirror showing what Africa once was: powerful, creative, free. So the next time someone says Africa has no history, remember Benin, remember the bronzes, and remember the truth they tried to bury. Because truth doesn't die. It waits for someone to tell its story. If this story moved you, share it, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. So together, we can uncover the stories they never wanted you to know.